But that's where we're going to start this free agent conversation. Let me ask you, would you be interested in Odell Beckham Jr.? At this point in his career, would you be interested in Odell Beckham Jr.? There could be some interest on the 49ers part. There is some interest apparently on Odell Beckham Jr.'s part that he would like to be involved with the 49ers. For the right price, maybe. But for the wrong price, that's a full-on hell no. You know, for a song, I'll sign Odell Beckham Jr. if I'm the 49ers. But to go out of my way to overextend, to commit too many dollars to that guy, it's just the wrong time to be doing it for several reasons. Number one, he is first team, always hurt, All-American. He is always dealing with not just dings and nicks and bruises, but torn ligaments. Like, there's just not an awful lot of health, I think, in Odell Beckham Jr.'s playing future. Beyond that, and I don't begrudge anybody interest in other things, but whenever you find out a wide receiver is really, really interested in fashion, to me, that's just a red flag. That means you're not here for the grind of it all. You're here for the luxury of it all. Like when Odell Beckham Jr.'s career started backsliding, pictures of him appearing on runways at Paris's Fashion Week were hand in hand with that. For a minute, Odell Beckham Jr. was one of the 4 or 5 best pound-for-pound players in the entire NFL. When he was in his absolute heyday with the New York Giants, he was spectacular. He was special. He's a player coming out of college Jim Harbaugh really wanted. That's the guy Jim Harbaugh wanted. Jim Harbaugh got A.J. Jenkins. But Odell Beckham Jr. had his moment in the sun. I believe the sun has set on his moments. He was with the Baltimore Ravens just last season. The Baltimore Ravens threw him 64 balls. He caught 35 of them. His catch rate just tanked. I mean, if you're not going to separate because you're a burner, if you, with quick cuts, are always getting hurt and you're not much of a possession receiver, what really good are you? Because I can tell you also that getting Odell Beckham Jr. to buy in to downfield blocking in the running game, that feels like it's going to be a little bit of a, well, let's have another talk about this, Odell. He hasn't seen a 1,000-yard receiving season since 2019. That, to me, is the most damning stat of it all. He doesn't produce anywhere as glamorously as the name Odell Beckham Jr. used to sound. It's not the right time to get into the Odell Beckham Jr. business. He made the incredible catch. We all know. We get it. But that's it. That's where the career highlight ends, I think, for him. So I would not be interested in Odell Beckham Jr. I really wouldn't. 35 catches for 565 yards and 3 touchdowns. Feels like Ronnie Bell should be able to do that, right? Feels like if you brought back Chris Conley, he should be able to do that. Feels like if you ever got Danny Gray elevated from practice squad to where now he's actually on the roster and playing, it feels like he could do that. The more you look at the wide receiver situation that the Niners have, that free agency offers now, and there's a very interesting wide receiver class coming up in this draft. There's no doubt about that. But, don't ignore history if you want to make sure you're not repeating it. And find me the rookie receiver that has ever had a good year under Kyle Shanahan. Like, I'll wait. Who is the rookie receiver who in his first year really made an impact? They're hard to find. Kyle is demanding on his wide receivers. So even if they did draft a guy who you were very excited about coming out of college, asking that young player to produce the level that Brandon Aiyuk just produced in a year where the deal is you better win the Super Bowl, that's an awfully big ask. It really is. There's absolutely no doubt that if Brandon Aiyuk were absolutely a full-on free agent, he would be the number 1 free agent in the entire class, probably, certainly at wide receiver. Brandon Aiyuk is in his prime. He is exactly what the 49ers need. He has turned into exactly the player that they want, that they covet, that does all the downfield blocking with attitude that you could ever hope out of a wide receiver. This is where Aiyuk really excels in the Shanahan plan. Oh, and he's the first since, what was it, Crabtree? To have back-to-back 1,000-yard receivers? Back-to-back 1,000-yard receiving seasons. He's the first in a long time, 1,300 this last year. That just doesn't fall off the streets. I don't even think you can go buy that in this year's free agent class. Like looking at the wide receivers in this year's free agent class. So you're telling me you want to add Marquise Brown? Marquise Brown has got some serious speed. There's no doubt about that. He was a burner for the Arizona Cardinals. 51 catches, 574 yards, and 4 touchdowns. But he's 5'9", 180 pounds. Just doesn't feel like the type of player Kyle Shanahan would want. Not that Brandon Aiyuk is some statuesque prototype, but Brandon Aiyuk has got some thickness to him, and he's got mad squabble in him as well. Kendrick Bourne. We're all familiar with Kendrick Bourne. He's a free agent wide receiver. Doesn't separate, though. He's a yards after catch guy, and he got that reputation playing in the 49ers offense. He spent his first 4 seasons with the 49ers. He spent the last 3 seasons in New England. 37 catches, 406 yards, and 4 touchdowns on a broken New England offense. So it's tough to evaluate him from a production standpoint. But for the price, what price, the right price, is Kendrick Bourne that guy? I don't know. Certainly not more than Brandon Aiyuk. I really hope that the 49ers figure out a way to re-sign Brandon Aiyuk. When I look at there's a rumor for Odell Beckham Jr. No, I don't. No, thank you. Not at this point in time. Marquise Brown. No, let someone else overpay for that guy. Kendrick Bourne. If the price were right, maybe. But you should be able to get out of, again, Ronnie Bell, what you'd be able to get out of Kendrick Bourne. And you'll be able to do that at a much better price than a free agent price for him. So it is a little bit of a head scratcher if you say goodbye to Brandon Aiyuk. Or you could solve this problem by not saying goodbye to Brandon Aiyuk, and I really hope that's the way the 49ers go about attacking this problem. Brandon Aiyuk stays. Kyle Juszczyk, I'm sorry. Somebody has to go. You're probably the guy that's got to go. And then maybe there are 1 or 2 other surprising cap cut casualties that we see over the weekend leading up to Monday. Maybe Eric Armstead is one of those guys. But as Larry and I said earlier, tread lightly. Thanks for watching. Tune into the Damon Bruce Show live on YouTube every weekday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific.